guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Welcome to the Breakdown Podcast. It's the day after, as it were. And we're going to talk all about yesterday's game, among other things. If you've got any questions, any stuff like that, then obviously get them in. Football, eh? Bloody hell. Just when you think, like Cardiff are finished and they've got no fight, they go and beat a team which haven't lost at home for a very long time. It's always interesting. Always interesting because they did yesterday. Look, you got to give them credit. They looked like a team. They looked like a team who was willing and able to fight for their manager, for each other. So, just as critical as we have been, whether it's in the players, as I was the other day, or whether it's the manager questioning his decisions, made some big calls yesterday, which is what I had said in the preview show, which was that he had some big calls to make. Would he make them? He didn't necessarily go with the calls that I was kind of thinking he might. He went with some different ones, and I think by and large you've got to give him credit. You've got to give him credit because he's under a shitload of pressure, Omar Rhys. And I've seen some people mentioning like his body language and stuff on the sideline. But I think for him, he's under a tremendous amount of pressure behind the scenes. Like this load of stuff which people don't know. And I had a message yesterday saying, "Oh, if you know stuff, you should say." But here's the thing, right? I'm a Cardiff City fan. I want Cardiff City to do well. Cardiff City as a football club is more important to me than views. Of course, I want views and I want listeners and all that sort of stuff. But generally speaking, like the health of Cardiff City as a football club is better for me. There's also another side of it. Is like, I don't want to get myself in any legal predicaments. Look, at the end of the day, there's loads going on. I think you only have to go on Twitter and look at some reliable people to see that there's stuff going on behind the scenes, good and bad. But you have to look at the game as it was, and Watford haven't lost at home for a very, very long time. And Cardiff City outfought them. I thought they outplayed them in large parts as well. I really thought on the ball we were pretty good as well. We created chances. Like we probably should have scored one more at least, maybe even two. But I thought we were very good. Let's start with some of those big calls. So obviously, Callum Chambers moved into midfield. It's a big shout. I mean, in fairness, Jonathan O'Back said we talked about this way earlier in the season on the channel. We said that maybe that's an option. He did a full season there, but I think it was Fulham. Very capable. I thought he looked much better, much more comfortable as a centre forward because a centre midfielder, because he's got cover behind him, and he looked comfortable. Did his tackling, his positioning was good. He was decent on the ball, looked after it, and I think that's all you can ask of him. I thought Darland was outstanding. I thought Gutas was excellent. Rinamoto is the one for me. Now, whilst I'd probably rather Rinamoto in the centre midfield alongside Robertson at the moment, like short term, in terms of that right back, that right wing back, I think it should be the order now should be Rinamoto, Pacquiao, Perry NG, until Perry NG shows the same fight, attitude, application, quality that Rinamoto has shown in the time that Perry NG has been out. Every time Perry NG has not played at right back, when Rinamoto's filled in, Rinamoto has been excellent, and he deserves to retain that place. And I chucked Pacquiao in there because I think he can be an option, particularly at home in a wing-back system. Obviously, we changed the system yesterday as well, which was kind of an interesting one, which I quite like that. I like that flexibility. But I also think the change, I think we changed the system 3 times during the Oxford game. And I think that those changes and then the changing system yesterday was at part fault for the goal. So in the system that we've played recently, in the 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3, Kean Ashford isn't responsible for that guy at the back post. In the system we played yesterday, he probably is. However, it's not just on him. He's a young player, etc. So I'm certainly not blaming him. I thought for the goal, Callum Chambers probably was dribbled past a little bit too easily. And also, I thought, O'Dowda should have probably stopped the cross. But these things happen in a game of football. And I'm certainly not going to zone in on those instances, because Kean Ashford encapsulated everything of what we've been saying these young players can bring. Worked tirelessly up and down that right-hand side, multiple times, went back and won the ball, was running in behind the fullback. So when Willock gets on the ball for the second goal, he's got somewhere to go. He's got somewhere to aim instead of backwards. He's got runners. He's got Kean running inside the fullback. He's got Robinson, if he wants to play a little reverse ball. He goes to Ashford. Ashford, great composure to lay it off to Callum Robinson. And on Callum Robinson, I think, as a team, I've said this before, we look so much better with him in the team. But we also look so much better when he plays off the last man and he doesn't kind of drop in as much to try and link up play and play as a number 10. And when he's trying to get in behind and down that left channel on the last man, that creates space for Robertson, as it was yesterday, and for Willock to drift into. And then they've got runners to aim at. Whereas so often this season, our press has been non-existent. We don't have runners in behind, so everything's congested. So whoever's playing in that number 10 role gets the ball and has to go backwards constantly to retain possession. And I think that's a big problem. I thought our pressing was excellent. We did it as a unit. And we forced Watford into multiple mistakes. Even with the Tanner one in the second half, Watford try and play out. We're still pressing late on in the game. They played across goal and Tanner's through on goal because of how high we are. That deserves that deserves credit, that we didn't stop pressing. We didn't sit in and just hope for the best in the second half and just try and cling on. And I think we deserved credit for that. One of the things for me, and there's so many, but another thing in the second half, Callum Robinson gets the ball down the right hand side. Ruben Colwell's through. He's through on goal. Robinson sees him. It's a bit of a tired pass. He kind of underhits it. It gets cut out. They break. Within 60 seconds, Callum Robinson is at left back or by the left back area to make sure that his misplaced pass didn't lead to a late goal for Watford. And that attitude, that work rate, that commitment to your teammates, to the badge, to the manager, whatever it may be, to the fans, that's what won the game yesterday. And I was generally impressed. There wasn't one player where I'm looking at them going, whoa. Even Joe Bagan, man. Joe Bagan came in for Chambers in midfield. And I assumed when he came on, we were going to go to 3 or 5 at the back. Joe Bagan slots in a midfield, and I'm looking at that and I'm thinking, do you know what? He looks a bit like a young Joe Rolls. Some of the passes, he nearly played this one nice pass behind the fullback for Tanner, just slightly overhit it. He's aggressive. He works hard. He's defensively sound. Quite liked him in midfield. That was a bit of a shock to me. And Joe Bagan's got to be up there, certainly for Young Player of the Year, because I think there was a lot of people, including myself, who didn't really fancy him at the start of the season. Probably thought maybe he's going to end up going out or, going out on loan or being sold. And I think he's another one who's forced his way into the team. Callum O'Dowda should be captain. Said it in my preview, said it in the show the other day. He should be the captain. No disrespect to Jack Alnwick. I just prefer an outfield player to be the keeper. So, yeah, it's been great. I want to focus on the positives. And I really do. I want to focus on the positives because I thought there were so many yesterday. I thought Siopis had one of his best games in a very long time. Nice and simple, win the ball, lots of energy. Yeah, very, very good. And I thought we were clever in the way we played. Our tackling, our aggression, everything was really, really good. And you have to give Omar Rhys credit for that, right? Because everyone's quick to jump on him and say he's a rookie manager, he's not ready, blah, 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 blah. But you know what? He could have easily gone with the same 11, say similar 11, Mate up front, whatever, and he didn't. He could have easily, second half, reverted to 5 at the back, and he didn't. He made a couple of brave decisions, and I think he deserves credit for that. Now, does it mean anything whatsoever if on New Year's Day we turn up and it's a similar team and performance to what we've seen more recently or before that, yesterday's performance? Then it definitely takes the shine off it for sure. We have to follow that up now. But that intensity, Cyprus has had a good game when even Martin's saying he was excellent. Well, then, Matt. No, they were. I thought they were all very, very good. And I think they got to follow it up. But that level of intensity and high pressing and moving the ball quickly. And do you know what we did? We played old school football almost, whereby we got it up to the final third quite quickly, and then we tried to play our football. And we've got good footballers. They're good on the ball. But so often we're just knocking it about. And I spoke to a Premier League first team coach the other day, and he had been watching Cardiff, and he basically said, like, on the ball, marvellous. Like, we look one of the best teams at keeping possession. But there's just nothing in the opposing half. Like, no running off the ball, no nothing. It's just sideways, back up, keep the ball. But that means nothing to the opponents. Yesterday, we didn't go long ball, but we got the ball quickly, got the football forward quickly, and then tried to play our football. Alex Robertson did an absolute job on Losa. You're absolutely right there. And it actually reminded me of the job which Ruben done last year or last season on Jake Livermore. Similar sort of thing. Sat in that little space, and every time he got the ball, he was nipping at his ankles, cutting out balls to him, so he got frustrated. And actually, I thought Loser should have been sent off because he got booked, and then a couple of minutes later, he sends Ashford flying. That was definitely a booking. In my opinion, this 100% should have been 2 yellows, but we see it so often, do we? Referees don't like to give those quick things, two quick yellows, but it is what it is. And I thought, the substitutes did a good job as well. I thought every substitute really did the job that was required. I thought Tanner looked sharp considering he's been out for a while. Ruben did a good job of keeping the ball when he got it, and he was working hard. Matty didn't have a great deal to do. He worked hard. There was one bit where I thought he should have knocked it up the right to who was it? I think it was Callum Robinson. He could have just released it, and he tried to hold it, but I understand what he was trying to do. He was trying to keep hold of the ball to then, run the clock down and stuff like that. So, yeah, look, and it's not a criticism of Matey. I thought he did everything which he kind of needed to. He was decent. He worked hard. He was only on for a couple of minutes. Bagan I mentioned, Tanner I mentioned. I thought Chris Willock again was very, very good. I thought it was a really interesting selection because we went with like keeping the center of the park really solid. And I like the way what he does or what he did with Rinamoto and what he's done with the 3 at the back with Rinamoto is like tactically what he does is Rinamoto will kind of set and make either a back 3 or a back 4, and then O'Dowd will go, and it's quite similar to what Villa do. Their one fullback will sit to make it a 3 or a 5, a 4. Sorry, if you've got 3 centre backs, and it just allows the other fullback to go right up. And obviously, when you've got a winger effectively playing as a fullback, that's really tactically quite astute. Jamie saying the ref was absolutely shocking. Yeah, it was a weird one, wasn't it? Because Watford were very unhappy with the ref. Yeah, actually, I thought we had a real good shout that they should have had a player sent off. So I don't think the standard of refereeing, let's be honest, in British football has been very poor for a very long time. I just want to see these. Like, do you know what's frustrating, right? Is if if we had, as a team, had played with that intensity, that high press, that intensity, moving the ball quick, getting it up there quick for the, all of Rhys's reign, but certainly in the last sort of 5, 6, 7 games, we'd be so comfortable. So comfortable. And that's what's frustrating, is that we haven't played with that intensity. We haven't pressed like that since Rhys's first couple of games. And they've got it in him. Of course, Callum Robinson makes a massive difference because of his energy and his legs, and he kind of pulls everyone forward and creates space for others. But, I think Keane Ashford deserves a lot of credit. Renario, and keeping it positive this evening, my friend. I know what you're saying and what you're asking, but it is. The away fans, Jamie, you are right, mate. We're absolutely sensational. Didn't shut up all game, and I was really, really happy with generally just to see those fans who've been up and down the country all season without seeing a win, to really see not just a win, not just like a spawny win, but a genuine good performance. It wasn't like a lucky deflected goal and hang on for your lives. I thought we were fully good value for that win. And yeah, he deserves a lot of credit for it. I think, it's obvious that with Callum Robinson, we're a better team. And I think you've probably got to manage his fitness a little bit, because he's had some injury issues. And if you play him to death every game, is that going to end up, with him getting injured or getting a muscle strain or something like that? So for me, I don't know how you manage it other than try and match one of the younger players with him. So there's all, Renario, what I'll say, mate, is there's all sorts of rumours flying around at the moment. There's nothing concrete to kind of report. If there is, I will obviously talk about it, but there's nothing. There's all sorts of rumours and things going on at the moment. I've sent a few texts out today to try and get to grips with what's happening and what's going on. It's frustrating because if those rumours that you're talking about there, if they'd come about coming into the Oxford game pre-Christmas, kind of understand that. But for those rumours to come out last night after the team and the club and the managers made some good calls and they played well, it's frustrating. And it kind of just rounds up Cardiff as a whole, that there's rumours that the manager's going to get sacked after you've probably just had at least your second best performance of the season, if not your best, because I would argue that Plymouth are so bad that was a better performance. To go to Watford, I know we generally got a decent record there, but to go somewhere where they haven't lost a home for so long and to play so well and to fight so well, it's frustrating then that not even a couple of hours after the game you start hearing rumours and things like that. The players made a point of celebrating with Omar Rhys after they scored enough goals. They all celebrated with him after the game. And they've all, I think there's been a few of them have kind of come out publicly on social media today and backed him as well. So as I said, when he was appointed, I said it was up to the players to back him. They backed him verbally, publicly, and it was up to them to now back him on the pitch. And as I said on Friday, or the day after Boxing Day, I said they haven't done that. I felt like the players have let him down, regardless of what you felt about his experience and his decisions or whatever. I did feel that those same players who had been so vocally supporting him publicly hadn't put in a shift. Yesterday, they put in a shift. Yesterday, every single player put in a shift. And as I said in my preview and I said in the breakdown, the last episode, all fans want is for every single player to put a shift in and to try and work for the fans, for the shirt, for the badge, for themselves, for the teammates, for the manager, for the club. That's all they want to see is 100%. It's not Robert Page. I can tell you that with somewhat certainty because I checked that yesterday straight away. So that guy who said that he's just looking for clicks. That's all fans want is 100% effort, 100% application. And if you give that and you get beaten by a better team, then so be it. If you go down, but we go down fighting, that's fine. Not fine, as in, it's okay to go down. But you don't want to go down with a whimper. And I think that's what I put in the title to the last episode was we're going down with a whimper like this because it's just you couldn't see who was fighting for us, bar one or two. Whereas yesterday I saw 14 players or whatever it was, 13, 14 players, absolutely give everything to get those 3 points. And you've got to build on that now. And on New Year's Day, first 5 minutes, you've got to start like that. And you've got to have that same intensity, that same attitude, and that same quality. Because Martin makes a great point. By the way, Martin, welcome to the members group. We've actually got a members show straight after this, where I might be a little bit more loose-tongued, shall we say. So welcome to the members group. I think what you've got to accept is, that's what I was saying, is what Martin says there. We weren't just decent on the ball when we had the chance. We didn't just work hard. We weren't good defensively, compact, good shape, all the, tactically good, all these things. Watford had very little chances. And you could actually say, I think twice we switched off. The goal, where you could say 2 or 3 players switched off at different points. And the chance for Jefferson towards the end where he really must score, but he can't score. He couldn't score in a brothel at the moment, unfortunately for the lad. I actually quite like him. I think his energy is sensational. He just needs a goal. But he should have scored, and we switched off there. 2 chances. And we could have got punished for them. And maybe that's your luck turning, because at the start of the season, it felt like every time we switched off, every time we made a mistake, every time we had a deflection, it ended up in the back of our net. It didn't yesterday. We switched off twice and only got punished for it once. Let's build on it. It's got to build on it. That's my worry, and I really hope for it. Josh on X says he picked 11 players yesterday that 100% wanted it. Chambers did well, I thought, broke the game up well and made a few clever fouls which disturbed them. Yeah, and when he took his yellow card, mate, when we lost the ball and there was a few players out of position and he took a yellow card for the team, I thought it was that's exactly what you want from that player. Take the booking. We frustrated them. They were super frustrated, and like I said, loads should have been sent off. Absolutely should have been sent off. I don't think there's even any doubt. John says, to some extent, we caught Watford out as they probably didn't expect that performance. Coventry and Middlesbrough now warned, so those games will be the acid test. I think to some extent, but actually I think it's just the championship, isn't it? The championship is mad. Like, you could be bottom of the league and struggling, and then you go and play and suddenly you just win a game which you on paper you had no chance of winning, but we deserved those 3 points 100%. Hopefully O'Dowda particularly, but Willock, hopefully they're both not too long term and it was just knocks. Willock looked like he landed a bit awkward on his shoulder, but it wasn't out of place. Like, they didn't pop it back in, so hopefully he's just a bit of a strain or a bit of bruising which he can get through. O'Dowda is just what a leader. We talk about not having leaders. I thought O'Dowda was, again, excellent. Made the team go over to the fans before the game. Made sure celebrated with the fans after the game. Callum O'Dowda has really, really stepped up this year. Not just in terms of his quality, where I think we all knew he had quality, but it was just we couldn't seem to keep him fit. But everything, quality, fitness, attitude, application, I think the whole bag, I think he's just been excellent. And I think he's, at the moment, probably nailed on for Player of the Year. Callum Robinson deserves a massive shout, mind, because he has proper turned it around at Cardiff in the last 12 months. There was a point last year, towards the end of the season, where I was pretty sure we were never going to see him in a Cardiff City shirt again. There was all sorts of issues behind the scenes, and he wasn't fit. I don't think he got on particularly well with Errol Bullock, and it just felt like it was just waiting for him to go in the summer, which was sad because at the start of the season I said he's by far our best finisher, and I want to see him playing as a number 9. And then it just looked like he wasn't going to come, and then he had a heart-to-heart with Bullock and the coaches and whatever. And this, since pre-season, his attitude, his body language, everything has just been like tip-top, spot on, playing with a smile on his face. But it's the energy and the determination to keep going. I really, really think that he deserves all the credit that he gets. I said in my preview that he seems like he's a bit of one of those strikers who's a bit streaky, where he'll score like 5 or 6 or a few, and then he'll kind of go quiet for a bit, and then he'll go on another streak. Hopefully this is the start now of his streak. He scored 3 and 2, and he looked really sharp yesterday. That first goal is such a good finish with his wrong foot so early in the game as well. Tom Cleverley was absolutely raging. There was one point where he went ballistic on one of the coaches or someone on his bench, which reminded me a little bit of Errol Bullock when he was screaming at Rhys in the Leeds game. But by the way, just really good. ATAC 927 says that's the first time all season that when we lost the ball, every single player gave 100% to get it back. All make the tackle. It was a great attitude. Keep it going. And that's it. And do you know what I thought really just like breathed that into the team? Kean Ashford, mate. How many times in that first sort of hour did Kean Ashford, might have been him who lost the ball, but how many times did he go back and help Rinamoto, and not just help him and like get in position and kind of mark a space, went back and physically won the ball, kept it in play, and then got the ball up and started developing the play himself. Such a good attitude. And this is something that we've talked about at length about the young players. Is all right, there may be occasions where they switch off or they haven't got the composure. Like there was one where probably at 1-0 where Kean will think he should have done better to finish where it comes across. Difficult finish on his wrong foot, left foot volley, but he will have felt like, that was a chance. But he didn't let it bother him. And then not long after that, you have the goal, which he's a part of. Didn't let it bother him. Continued working hard, continued working for his teammates, continued to help Rinamoto. And then he gets his reward. When he's through on goal, doesn't panic, doesn't blaze it over, doesn't go greedy, doesn't want that extra touch. First touch across to Robinson, goal. It's just, I thought Kean was absolutely excellent. And I think, I got to be honest, I think any of the boys who started will be unlucky to lose their place on New Year's Day. However, I think because of the amount of games that we've had in the last couple of weeks, I think it's a risk to play the same 11. And obviously you've got O'Dowda and Willock, who came off injured. And Robinson's this is his first start for a while. Like, do you put Robinson on the bench just to give him, just to manage his fitness? I mean, it's a big risk, isn't it? Because you need momentum. And the best way to get momentum is, of course, play as a striker, score goals. And I saw a few comments on Twitter yesterday, sort of like during the game, after the game, people saying, this is why Willock is better than Colwell and blah, blah, blah. I felt a little bit for Ruben, because how many times this year could you say that Ruben, when he's had the ball, as he had runners running in behind, high press, which creates space, width, like, I don't think he's had that a lot. Whereas Willock obviously had the options, and Robertson had the options to play those passes. And I think, Ruben, similar to Willock, would have found those passes, would have found those spaces. So look, it is not about, Ruben this or Willock this. You need a squad. You need a team. You can't win. You can't win a league. You can't get promoted. You can't avoid relegation with 11 players. You need a squad. And this squad has to put everything aside. They have to get rid of any players who are not on board. If you're not fighting for the badge, you're not fighting for the club, don't play. And you get the ones who are, and we're more than good enough to stay up when we play at the level that we're capable of and fight at the level that we're capable of. Simple as that. Renario says thinks that Richard Shaw coming in has started to help. Josh says without Robertson's goals, we'd be in a much trickier position for sure. Him and O'Dowd deserve contracts. Club need to sort that out soon. Yeah. Martin says Ashford deceptively strong and aggressive. Yeah, he's definitely ready to play first team football, mate. I think there's no doubt about that. Yeah, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? Is the Watford left back was really pushing forward in that, especially in that first half. And the easy option for Ashford as a right winger is to kind of leave it to Rinamoto and the defenders and go, I'm going to stay high and cheat a little bit. And he didn't. He had that mentality and that attitude. I would stick with Ashford and Robinson for New Year's Day, with maybe an eye. Then you got like 3 days. Maybe you rest Robinson for the Borough game. Coventry at home has got to be the game that we aim to go and win and go and really get at them. Middlesbrough, I think we should go with a similar approach to what we did yesterday. And I think we're perfectly capable of going to get some points. Take a draw there, really. It's a hard game, a long trip after a lot of games. But Coventry's the one, like, where you think, right, come on, let's go win this football match. And this is, incidentally, and look, I thought Callum Chambers was excellent yesterday. And I thought Joe Bagan was excellent when he came in for him. But I still wouldn't play either of them in centre midfield against Coventry. Against Coventry, I would put Rinamoto in there and I would put K Pacquiao at right back, right wing back, right back, whatever which system we play. I'd put them put K Pacquiao at the right back. I'd have Ashford on the right. If Willock's out, I'd put Colwell in the 10 because they've grown up together. So they're gonna work hard for each other. They got the link up play, but and I think as well, like Jonathan's just said there, Ruben has struggled without the pace of Tanner because Tanner gets in behind and creates that width. And by the way, I was absolutely delighted, thrilled. I was so chuffed, mate, to see Ollie Tanner on the left. Finally, on the left. Me personally, against Coventry, I'm going to assume that Willock and O'Dowd are injured, okay? I would go with Pacquiao at right back. I would go with Bagan at left back. I would go with Robertson and Rinamoto, probably, in centre midfield. I wouldn't be disappointed if it was Sabas. Maybe Rinamoto needs a bit of a rest because he's played a lot of minutes, but I would be very happy with him in centre midfield in the holding role. Robertson drop back, Ruben in the 10, Tanner on the left, Pacquiao right back, Ashford on the right, Robinson up front. That says we're the home team and we're going to go and win this football match. And Martin makes a good point there. Like Watford play with a single pivot, Middlesbrough play with two. It's a different tactical problem. Yeah, there's a few different options there with that. You could keep the same setup with the two holding midfielders, but you maybe just ask Robinson to drop in a little bit to sit on the pivot alongside the number 10. You could play a false 9. But I do think Tanner will start. O'Dowd probably needs a break as well, is the other thing. And I think Joe Bagan's done enough. Although I did hear that maybe the coaching staff weren't as impressed as some of the fans were with Bagan in midfield. I thought he did all right when he came on. But Bagan at left back doesn't really give me a worry. You know, if I was really excited, I would love to see like a Davis or Giles in there at left back and have two proper young fullbacks going into the home game. But I understand why Bagan doesn't deserve to be dropped either. I just hope, I really hope he just doesn't revert to like bringing back Matty or someone like Matty on the wing or up front. I'd be really disappointed for the Coventry game if that was the tactic. And I think that would deflate the fans before the game. How do you think we'd feel if an hour before kickoff we're all getting ready for the game, having a pint before the game in the stadium, and then you see the team and it's like Pacquiao, Darland, Gutas, Bagan, Rinamoto, Robertson, Colwell, Tanner, Ashford, Robinson. I think, at least for me personally, that would give me a massive lift. Like an hour before the game, I'll be buzzing if that's the case. Absolutely buzzing. But I have a nagging feeling that he might make some changes and he might bring Matty back in. Partially because I've got a feeling they might need to and want to manage Callum Robinson's fitness, just because he's so important to the way we play. Alex Robertson is quality. He's like an unsung hero in his team. Doesn't always get the credit he deserves, but I think he's only had one bad game, really. He's proper quality. And we could have scored a couple. We had a couple of good headed chances. We had the Tanner one. Ashford had a chance in the first half. You know, there was a few chances. We could have ended up with a couple more goals. So yeah, Jeff says, how do you deal with Dak in the Borough game? Can Bagan deal with him? But Bagan defensively is pretty sound. And I think if you go with O'Dowda at left back, and especially with the way we set up with when Rinamoto's at right back and he really sits in, allowing O'Dowda to push up, you might get caught out a little bit with that. So maybe you go with, for that game, you go with Bagan at left back and then maybe O'Dowda or Tanner at left wing and like tell him to protect him a little bit and try and double up a little bit. But John says, if we played Chambers and Reno as a central midfield, could that give Robertson more chance to join the attack further forward? I mean, it does, obviously. I feel that Robertson's better slightly deeper. And what I would like to see is a proper sitter. So like the job Chambers did yesterday alongside Robinson, whether it's CEO, whether it's Bagan, whether it's Rawls, whoever it is, I really, really would like to see a sitter next to Robertson to allow him to, when we're attacking, proper vacate that area and get up and arrive late. I feel he can be really good with that. He's already shown he's got some good shooting boots, and him arriving late, I think I just think he plays a little bit better with the game in front of him. But I accept what you're saying, mate. I think getting him further forward is the way to go. But I also think with the likes of Tanner and Ashford and Robinson in the side, you'll see a different Ruben Colwell, just as we've seen an improvement in Chris Willock, because they've got options. They've got people to pass to and running in behind. But equally, you press high, you create space. It's very, very simple when you think of it. But yeah, look, it's encouraging, really encouraging. Really, it's been enjoyable. It was enjoyable to watch. My son messaging me trying to get a lift, doing back-to-back shows. My son, cheeky boy, pass your driving test. Sorry, Josh. Key reason. What was the key? There you go. Josh says Robertson stop press well with Robinson from the front, and I thought that was the key reason why Watford struggled to play through us. 100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. I would just I would really like to see Pacquiao get a go home, and that's no reflection on anybody else. I would just like to see, like, one of the criticisms which was leveled at Errol Bullock was constantly playing two holding midfielders. So yesterday, I think it was the right decision to play two holding midfielders and have Robertson sit on the single pivot of Watford's and just caused a lot of issues. At home against Coventry, a winnable game if we're at our best, I would like to see us be a bit more aggressive in our selection. So I would like to see Robertson as a box-to-box. And then I'd be quite happy with Chambers and Robertson, by the way. Chambers doing the exact role he did yesterday as a kind of basically like a single pivot, but with Robertson being box-to-box and getting back when we're out of possession, but in possession, letting him get right up and supporting the front lines. ATEC 927 says, we showed we can attack down those wings yesterday, be even better with the pace of Isaac Davis. And do you know what? I said this the other week. We look so much better with Callum Robinson as the 9, pressing, running in behind, etc. And we haven't got a like-for-like replacement for him. So I think we kind of run him into the ground a little bit. So I think when you look at it, I think the way that we play either in that system yesterday or in the 3, Isaac Davis as the 9 could really be good. And that just takes the pressure off Callum Robinson a bit. But you could also play them together. You could play, Isaac can play wide. I just think the key is width and pace in attacking third. That movement off the ball is what enabled us. And the out of possession, it was the pressing. But in possession, the movement off the ball and the width was what really Watford struggled with. You had Ashford running in behind. Even when Tanner came on, Dowda like really high and really wide. It just stretches the pitch and it creates spaces for other players. Whether that be Willock, whether that be Robertson, whether whoever it may be. These players have shown we know what they're capable of. At the start of the season, I've said many times I haven't been that positive for a very, very long time going into a season. Like I really fancied us to have a good year, and it kind of fell apart really quickly. Didn't expect it to fall apart as quickly and as drastically as it has. Like I did the EFL debate show probably November time sometime, and they said like about Cardiff and the relegation. I said I still don't think we'll be down there come the end of the season. Obviously, since then we've been really, really bad up until yesterday. We play like we did yesterday. We'd been if that was our blueprint in terms of intensity and performance from the start of the season, we'd be right up there, because we have good footballers. So for whatever reason, we haven't been able to find that intensity. Whether it's I don't know, is it the system? Is it the tactics? Is it attitude? Who knows? But whatever it is, they have to use yesterday as a blueprint. Because if we turn up against Coventry and we're poor like we were against QPR or, these other games, Preston, Oxford, like if we play like that against Coventry on New Year's Day, I think rightly the fans are going to feel really frustrated and it's going to feel like a bit of a slap in the face. So I like to think, being the optimist that I am all the time, that we showed what we're capable of when we play a certain way. So let's go do it. United, the fans, the club, the players, everyone was on the same page yesterday. And look what happened. Rob rightly says, Shaw will want to get one over on his old club. Yeah, of course he will. Martin says, big improvement in Cyprus' game yesterday was allowing him to press, allowing him to set the press. Yeah, no, I thought he was good. I thought he was really good. And that's what he's capable of. Like, at his best, he's an excellent sort of defensive midfielder. ATEC 927 says, is Kanga better than Madine with a Cardiff shirt on? With a Cardiff shirt on, it's probably quite close, mate, isn't it? Like, the thing I just don't get with Kanga is he's clearly got something, or he's had something previously. So is it as simple as we're just so shambolic that he just looks like he's never played football before? Or is the championship just too quick for him? And I think people don't realise, like, how good the Championship is in terms of quality. Like, I do think it's right up there. It's like I think it was Andy Campbell, when we used to do the shows, like, he used to say it's like a Premier League 2. The quality of it, the funds, the teams that are in there is really, really high. And maybe some players come from different countries or different leagues, and they don't expect the second division in the British tier to be as intense and as high quality as it is. And it can take a bit of settling. I said that about Darland in my preview. Like, I think he's a player who just needs to play a few games to get up to the pace of everything. You know, he's in a new country, new league. He looked good in the Swansea game, and then he got injured, and it's taken him a bit of time to settle. I thought he was excellent yesterday, Darland. I thought he was so good. And he's like a bit of an old school defender physically, but I think he's really good on the ball as well. Fact Steve, welcome. Good evening, mate. He says, good result yesterday, good effort by the lads. Now let's do our bit. Firstly, get yourselves down to City on Wednesday, bring your mates. And secondly, buy a ticket for the Swansea game. Need your support. 100%. Get behind the team. Kanga says, Jonathan says, Kanga didn't look anywhere near prepared, not only for how good the Championship is, but how physical it is. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because he's a big boy, like, he's a unit, and he just hasn't quite looked up to it or ready. Yeah, it's a strange one, but it'd be interesting what the club does with them, like with Kanga, because I think there's definitely an argument you could make to send him back to his loan, like we did with what's his head last year, who ended up going to QPR. I've forgotten his name, Ugbo. Like, I think there's definitely an argument where you could send him back and get someone else in. Bring Simic back. Like, is Simic going to be any worse? I guess it all depends on what their plans are for Reindorf. Like, if they view Reindorf as a genuine first teamer now, then they might just leave Kanga as he is and just like leave him in alone and see what happens with him. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Like, Isaac Davis and Atete to come back as well. Not that Atete gives me a great deal of hope. Joel Colwell scored another goal. That's 3 in 2 games for him. I wouldn't bring him back. He's playing football with a smile on his face. He's loving it in Cheltenham. Like, why would you bring him back into this? A young player. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, we've got many options in midfield. I'm sure there's discussions about whether Ryan Wintle should or shouldn't come back to the club. Like, what do you guys think? Would you bring Ryan Wintle back into the team in January? Interested in what everyone thinks. Vincent says, it fell apart because of bad decisions that made in players coming in. We found something now in Robinson and Ashford. Don't know. Like, I think it fell apart for a variety of reasons. One being the former manager, one being the shambolic setup behind the scenes and above the team or at board level. But I actually think, bar Kanga, I think we had a pretty good window. And I know some people don't agree with that. Like, if you look at it, Robertson's been good. Darland looks like he's going to be, he's good. Fish is the one which is a bit confusing because he hasn't really been given a chance other than one game. I've heard his attitude is spot on. I've heard, like, he trains hard. He's got a good attitude. You wouldn't blame him if he wanted to go out on loan or if he wanted to move or if he regretted the move because he's barely been given a chance, but especially when we've been so poor and there's been mistakes there. But yeah, it'd be interesting. Josh says, I'd get rid of Collins, Mate and Kanga. I think there's also an argument to get rid of Wintle permanently, bring back Colwell, Simic, Davis and Tete back into the fold. Davis's pace. I will be absolutely astounded, like unbelievably shocked if we see Jamal Collins ever play for Cardiff City again. Like, astounded. I kind of agree with you, Josh. If we could move Collins, Mayte, Kanga, Wintle out in January, that makes room to bring some in. I wouldn't necessarily bring Joel back, even though I think he'll be part of the first team next year. I just think he's better where he is. Obviously, Isaac and Atete are going to come back in. Simic, you could certainly have a look at him when he comes back from his injury. Martin says, Ashford has shown that we can trust the ability and application of these young players. Is Joel behind Keane in his development? I just think that they wanted Joel to go and play regular football. And I think they felt he wasn't going to get regular first-team football at Cardiff. And obviously he hasn't played a lot of men's football up until this year. He has gone and played for Cheltenham, and I think he's played the majority of their games. They're very, very happy with him. The manager's happy with him. He's creating goals. He's scoring goals. He's also did a range of positions. He generally actually plays as a 10 more recently, but he's played as an 8. He's played as a 10. I think he played as a 6. Played as a right winger. He's getting good experience, and I just don't think you need to kind of rush him back just to be a bit part player. There's an argument to be made. Could he come in and play alongside Robertson, and you could be really exciting? I 100% think that's an argument. But I also think that Cam Chambers did a good job yesterday. Siopis was excellent yesterday. You've got Joel Rolls there. I need any one of those three to just sit as an out-and-out 6 and allow Alex Robertson to be box-to-box. I think if we do that in this system, we'll be great. You've also got Rida Moto, of course. And Joel Bacon played there. So I just think there's no reason to disrupt what Joel Colwell is doing on loan at the moment. Right, last couple of questions before we round up. So, yeah, look, I'm interested in what people think about Ryan Wintle. Would you bring him back? Graham, who joined the members yesterday, thank you, Graham, for that. Thanks for the support, mate. He says, I was impressed with Ashford's strength, plus his coolness for the second. Most would have taken a shot. Or as a young player, mate, so often you see him want that extra touch for comfort. And first touch, bang, straight across. Beautiful. Josh says, just based on yesterday, that role Robertson played yesterday, Joel Colwell could play that. It's like a half 8, half 10. Ruben Boyle's hot and cold for me, sometimes great off the bench. But Joel Colwell is the form player at all. And anyone playing with that confidence would benefit us right now. Yeah, that's what I said in my preview, mate, is that a lot of our young players who are, really highly rated, we obviously don't know which ones are going to go on and make it and stuff like that. You never quite know. But a lot of them are full of confidence because, they're like at the top of the league. They're doing well in the cup competition. They've been scoring goals, playing good football. They haven't got the kind of trauma of what this season's been at first team level. And I just think you saw what Keane did yesterday, what K. Pacquiao did the other day off the bench. They play without fear. They play with energy. They play with pride, and they work hard. I can forgive the odd mistake if you do that. So, let's have a look what else we got. Jonathan says, I think Wintle coming back may have a positive impact on how NG is because they were best mates. All got opinions, my friend. Martin says, I've said many times Ashford has never had a bad game for the first team. Not sure about that, but he's been very consistent nonetheless. Fact Steve says, I'm happy to stick with Rhys. If the club wanted another manager, they had 3 months to appoint someone else after Bullet was sacked. So Rhys gets my support. Fair play to you, mate. Martin says, interesting that Rhys said Ashford lacks a bit of belief in himself. It doesn't show in his football. Yeah, I think he's quite a quiet lad, mate, to be honest with you. And I think he probably does need that, like a bit of belief and a bit of nastiness, maybe. But yeah, can't fault him yesterday. Really, really impressed. And I think that's what the young players can bring, whether it's for 20 minutes, whether it's from the start, particularly in the home games. I think one of the things that we drastically lack at home is starting fast and getting the crowd behind us. I think it's a massive missed trick. I said it a lot last year with Bullet. I think one of the things that he was missing at home was getting the fans on side by picking a really aggressive, exciting team, which gets the fans buzzing before the game. And then in that, from the first second, start like a house on fire, stick a tackle on someone, press in numbers, and just really, really like make it special, like make it aggressive, because the fans will come with you. But you take the sting out of the fans by just playing sideways, backwards. And even worse than that, you just kind of let the other team settle and let them start playing their football. Let's have a look. Curtis Marshall says, I'd bring back Wintle, but only to come on from the bench. No, mate. As I said to, I think it was Jonathan, everyone's got an opinion, and all opinions are welcome here. It'd be boring if we all thought the same. Right then, we're going to finish up here. If you're a member, we're going to be jumping straight on a member show for 45 minutes to an hour, myself and Rob. And Cardiff City content 7 days a week, by fans, for fans. And this evening, if you're a member as well, you've had literally 3 back-to-back shows. We had the Cardiff City phone-in, 7 till 8. Then we had the breakdown, 8:15 till 9:15. And now we have the members, unscripted, uncensored. What about that? Take care, my friends. I'll have a preview out tomorrow. It might come out sometime in the day because it's New Year's Eve, but I'm going to record it in the morning, probably. Might record it tonight. But do me a favor. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you, after it finishes, please do drop a comment on YouTube. That helps us go up the algorithm and all that good stuff. But what I'd like you to do in the comments of this video, tell me the team that you would pick for Coventry. Like, how would you go about trying to get a crowd on side? How to get a crowd? Would you go aggressive? Would you get the youngsters in there? Tell me what you would do, and I'll have a read of it before I record my preview, because I'm a bit stuck with it, because I feel like a lot of those players, well, all of them don't really deserve to be dropped, but I would like to see us be really aggressive in our selection and stuff like that. Take care, my friends. If you remember, I'll see you in a minute.